Dr. Denton Lotz, my hero, you've been a great husband, great father, great preacher, and great scholar. I admire you, and I'm sure you're in heaven. Janice, he's in a wonderful place. He's fellowshipping with Billy Graham and many others. May God continue to bless your family and your children and grandchildren. I miss him much. He's one of my best general secretary. God bless you all.
Thank you, dear friend, for what you have meant for us, for your inspiration and leadership. You have been a great blessing to us and to me especially. I say see you soon, my dear Denton, because I imagine that a few days after your departure to the presence of the Lord, knowing you will be making plans with God for when we meet again. And surely, at this point, calling each of the angels by name and giving them instructions, preparing a great congress in eternity with the participation of the thousands who with your preaching knew Jesus, of whom with your teachings learned to love the Bible, of those persecuted because of their faith who received your defense, encouragement, and support, of the poor and needy who received material help and comfort, and the many more that we will be anxious to be able to work together again.
Denton Lotz was a peacemaker. He sought always to bring peace. Scriptures say, as much as within you, live at peace with everyone, and Denton tried to do that. He maintained the unity and harmony of international Baptist unions and conventions, many of them very diverse, for over 25 years. He also worked hard to ensure that Baptists and other Christians were able to live at peace, even though they were in embattled and sometimes persecuted situations. And not only on the international sphere, but Denton was very good at maintaining peace and being a reconciler with his colleagues, many of whom had strong personalities, strong points of view. He was able to do that. He was able to be the first to apologise, to be quick to apologise even when right, and he maintained good relationships with those with whom he may disagree. I served as Director for Evangelism for the BWA for a long time, for much of Denton's tenure as General Secretary. And no one could have been more supportive as a leader than Denton was for this important ministry, because he believed passionately that every person should find peace with God through faith in Jesus Christ. And now this good man is himself truly at peace.
I owe an immense personal debt to Denton Lotz for encouraging and mentoring me in my global ministry. Denton was a wonderful example of a Christian leader. He was a convinced Baptist who was also generous to other Christian traditions. He was an able theologian who was also passionate about evangelism. His consistent call was every Baptist a missionary. He was a formidable defender of religious liberty and human rights, and fearlessly he spoke truth to both secular and religious powers. Denton was warm and personable, always delighted to see you. We have 47 million in our Baptist family, and I reckon a high percentage of those were known to Denton by name. Janice, I bring you a very personal greeting. You and Denton were a great team. You often with a restraining hand on his arm and the gentle word of wisdom in his ear. Your generous hospitality, the hospitality that you and Denton exercised, meant you entertained the world in your home. And when we saw that lovely Christmas photo of your family, I thought, what a wonderful legacy Denton is leaving. And my prayer is this, that the spiritual vitality and gospel faithfulness of Denton will now live on through his children and his grandchildren.
I bring you greetings from Costa Rica. That's how Dad would have started. Dad was a devout man, a man of God, but he was also an extraordinary person. He was the youngest of 4 boys, and Had to learn early on to keep up. He may not have been known for his athletic prowess. In fact, his brother John used to chide him and say, "Denton can't chew gum and walk at the same time." But he made up for it tenfold through perpetual motion. Dad was always on the move. He never stopped. He embodied the term globetrotter. He was not a man of the world. He was a man of the word, traveling to every single continent multiple times, connecting with others through Christ. Connecting with others is what Dad did best, be it with a crowd of thousands, from a church pulpit, at a Bible study, around a shared meal, with Mom, his children, his grandchildren, or with strangers that crossed his path. In fact, some of those strangers became our dearest friends. Dad had personality and charisma, with a capital P and a capital C. But he also knew how to make the individuals he spent time with the center of attention, forging bonds and friendships that spanned the globe. He loved telling jokes. He was telling jokes the last days of his life. As we were teary-eyed, he was still trying to get us all to laugh. Dad's signature style was his clean-cut, put-together look with a shining bald head. He used to say, God made a few heads, a few perfect heads, that is, and put hair on the others. Dad was a doting husband. He and Mom had a beautiful relationship that brought out the best in each other. Their mutual love and admiration for each other warmed the hearts of those around them. They were in love for 49 years, traveling the world together, but also spending many moons on opposite ends of the world. A love like theirs was a rare and a beautiful thing. They knew that and nourished it and treasured it. What an example. Dad was a wonderful father. He was communicative and loving, affectionate, yet firm. He was proud of all of us and always wanted to know everything that was going on in our lives. He was wise and empathetic, understanding and insightful. He did not mince words, connecting with others through Christ. Dad was a fabulous grandfather, reading stories, going for walks, sharing an ice cream cone, and telling stories. And oh, the stories he had to tell. Imagine a grandfather who met presidents and prime ministers, popes and communist dictators, Martin Luther King and Fidel Castro. As you cherish the memories of Dr. Denton Lotz, Denton, Dad, Grandpa, just remember, we all know it may be an earthly farewell, but it will be a heavenly until we meet again.
I bring tribute on behalf of the Klaas family and especially my mother, Irmgard Klaas. Denton and my father, Gerhard Klaas, formed a wonderful team. They shared in sometimes very difficult missions in Eastern Europe long before they both were called to the Baptist World Alliance office. They were friends, they laughed together, they cried together. When Gerhard Klaas passed away suddenly, Denton had to assume responsibility of General Secretary, and God had indeed prepared him for this. Denton's compassion for people, his vast knowledge and experience, his humble spirit made him an outstanding leader. And Janice was the trusted supporter he needed. Let me add that as German Baptists, we always had a special bond with Denton and his family. Many of his longtime friends and colleagues would have loved to share in this tribute. To Janice, to the family, and to all of us, we've lost a beloved companion and friend, a leader and a mentor, an ambassador of Christ. We gained a saint who now is complete in his life in the presence of the Lord.
I was recruited by Denton Lotz in 1988 in what was a journey of faith and growth and wisdom in so many ways. Denton was a brilliant man, a great leader, full of enthusiasm, optimism, and focused on what God had called him to do. Above all, he loved Baptists all over the world, and there was never a time that we traveled that I did not see him received with great joy. He had a word of encouragement for everyone. Denton was many things, but above all, he was a passionate follower of Jesus Christ. He was an evangelist whose heart was to see people come to know Jesus. I consider the time I spent with him as an act of worship, and I look forward to the time when we will be reunited at the feet of Jesus.